A very good evening to all of you. We are delighted that your eyes on Church of Uganda Family TV, and I welcome you to HealthPort. Yeah, this program is brought to you by Makerere University School of Public Health, together with Church of Uganda Family TV, and Edwin Austin Mukalas is seated here to make sure that you get the very best out of this show. We are delighted that we are going to talk about another very important topic that our parents out there could be underlooking. We are looking at immunization in general, and I'm delighted, as well as you this particular evening, to have Dr. Hanifa taking us through the episodes. And remember, Dr. Hanifa is from the Stepping Stone platform, where you come the way you are and you don't live the same, where you get total transformation. And she's going to transform us this evening. Doctor, we are very delighted to have you again this particular evening on HealthPort.
Yes, thank you very much to all our viewers, the lovers of HealthPort. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Hanifa Namala saying again, transforming lives. And this time, we are actually handling a very important topic, which is about immunization. Me, myself, I'm a pediatrician, but I'm also a mother. And the topic we are discussing, why I'm stressing that I'm a mother, is that I practiced what I'm going to talk about. But as a technical person, as a medical personnel, I also urge you from that perspective. So today, I am speaking both as a doctor, but also as a senior mother. I'm not even just a mother.
A senior mother.
I am a senior mother.
Jonah is a senior father in dreams.
In dreams. So Makerere University School of Public Health and Church of Uganda Family TV, thank you very much for knowing that us as doctors, we studied so many books with so many languages, but we've come to transform lives. So here we are on HealthPort.
Wow, this is a very good introduction and insight. So, Doctor, before we get into immunization, because we understand your, do you have topics? So do you have sessions of immunization in the Stepping Stone platform?
Yes, we do, because Stepping Stone platform is about grooming teenagers of substance. Okay. So you become a teenager from being a baby. So even when we are discussing about childhood immunization, immunization that happens in children and immunization that happens in teenagers, as we go through our different episodes, we are actually on form. So we talk to our adolescents about the importance of immunization, because they will soon be mothers.
Sure.
So you have to talk to them when they are still in school. When they grow up and they are mothers and fathers, then they can be able to embrace health education. Should start as early as teenagers. So yes, we do have that.
Wow, this is so wonderful and interesting. So, Doctor, we get back to our immunization. The broad definition of immunization, how can you break it down to our viewer out there?
As I said, we are not here to speak science.
Yes.
From a public health perspective, because I'm also a public health specialist. From a mother perspective, immunization is an act of giving some medicines or giving some injection or oral medicines to prevent your child from getting severe forms of immunizable diseases.
I remember this back when we were still studying. They used to talk. They used to teach us about the 6 killer diseases.
Now we have gone up to 10 and we are improving to more. Yes, we are going to discuss that. So whatever you do, you put something in the mouth, you give an injection to prevent the child from getting diseases that are immunizable. And you see, I'm talking about immunizable diseases. That means they are diseases that are non-immunizable. So right now, when you talk about immunization, basically it is an act that happens to your child or you as a mother to prevent your child from getting into severe forms of an immunizable disease. And we are going to talk about these diseases. Yes, as you were growing up, you didn't have a smartphone, did you?
No.
Phone.
No.
Yes. So,
Actually, I don't remember having a phone at home.
not at all, not at all remembering a phone. So now, initially, immunization has gone through history. Initially, they would immunize against one disease. They went on, you know. And when we were growing, there were 6 immunizable diseases. Now they are 10, and we are going to talk about them. Like I said, science goes on improving. And 2, diseases keep coming. Now we are talking about COVID vaccine. Because when you were growing up, did you talk about COVID vaccination? No. Now we are teaching, for example, in Stepping Stone, we are telling our teenagers that you need to be vaccinated against COVID. So it is also coming, and eventually it will probably be one of the routine. So routine means that these are the types of immunizations that are supposed to happen to everyone. There are some special ones that we shall discuss. But right now we are talking about the childhood immunizable diseases. But let's first understand, what is the importance of immunization? Why would you, important, as a senior father in making, or Jonah who is in the camera there, he's dreaming, listening and learning and dreaming, why would you take your child to be immunized? Yeah. I think I should first give some key messages. Immunization does not prevent a child from getting the disease. But it prevents the child from getting severe forms of that disease. The child may get the disease. For example, the child may get measles, but will not get those other severe things. Like, you know, measles can cause blindness. Measles can cause a child to get pneumonia, to get breathing problems. You know, those of us who are our age, many children used to die of measles. But when you immunize, the child may get measles. Here in Uganda, we call it mulangira. So the child will get mulangira, but that mulangira will happen, the child gets the rash, gets some fever, but the child will not be bedridden, will not get these severe complications of blindness, pneumonia, you know, the lung disease that makes the lungs stiff, and the child may not die. Because what immunization does, you know, it prevents the child from getting the severe forms of that disease. It boosts the immunity against that immunizable disease. So they are 10. So we shall find a way of talking them in English. But we have measles, which we call mulangira. Yeah. We have pneumonia. You've learned a lot of pneumonia during COVID.
Is pneumonia also now an immunizable disease?
Yes, there is a type of pneumonia. It's caused by a virus, a particular virus. Like you can see, you have a housefly, you have a butterfly, but in viruses, there is a particular virus called the streptococcal. You don't want to know this. So when you immunize, there is a particular virus that you immunize against. So the child will not, even if the child coughs, you know, the children go to school, they are coughing, they will not get the severe cough that makes the lungs stiff. So measles, pneumonia, and diarrhea. Diarrhea, you know, when we used to, my own child actually developed severe pneumonia, and she went into shock, actually my firstborn. That time, we were not immunizing against rotavirus. Rotavirus is also a type of virus. That virus causes severe diarrhea. The child gets diarrhea and vomiting and death. My own child, my firstborn, Sumaya, had died of diarrhea. That time they were not yet immunizing against that type of virus, rota. You will become a paramedic. Rota what? Rotavirus. So now, one of the immunizable diseases is against the rotavirus to prevent diarrhea. Okay? Hepatitis. We immunize against hepatitis. Hepatitis is a liver that is swollen, inflamed or swollen. So we immunize children so that when they get these diseases, the liver remains protected. The liver helps in making your food useful, if I may say so. And it works on certain foods and blood and whatever. But we immunize against hepatitis. We do immunize against measles, mulangira. Measles is a very dangerous disease. It can cause death, it can cause blindness. Children can, get brain damage because they get severe forms of measles. Other diseases, you'll keep polio. Polio now is towards eradication. Uganda was one of the countries that was declared as having no polio. But now polio came. We are studying whether some science is a lot. But polio is a disease that makes one get limp. You have seen people who walk with one leg.
Yes.
Or
someone has a leg that is deformed.
The leg that is deformed, and they usually use a stick.
Yes.
So that is polio. When you don't immunize your child against polio, your child can get bad polio. The polio affects the leg and your child becomes lame. So we immunize against polio. So those are the 10 diseases that we immunize against. Some of them, the words are so technical, but basically they are those 10 immunizable killer diseases. I've told you my own daughter had died of rotavirus. She got diarrhea, went into shock, almost died. So
doctor, before we leave these diseases, you talked about hepatitis, and we've had hepatitis has very many types. There is hepatitis A, B, C, and all that. So are all these types vaccinated, or immunized, or they only immunize one?
So for now, let us first take it as generally hepatitis. Okay. So the nitty-gritty may confuse the listeners, but just know that your liver, what do they call liver in Uganda?
Chibumba.
So we immunize against diseases of chibumba. When your chibumba gets sick, God forbid, then you get many diseases. Most people see yellow eyes. So the liver is sick. So that's why we immunize against diseases, viruses that can go into your liver and it becomes sick. So that is why we why we immunize, I said, preventing those severe forms of the disease, but also preventing your child from dying, but also preventing your child from getting these ailments. I told you, if the liver is sick, your child will get those ailments. Yellow eyes, they can even go to the brain and the child gets insane or gets those delayed milestones. For your child to grow and develop. You remember at HealthPort, we talked about milestones as episodes.
Yes.
So one of the ways, if you don't immunize your child in a timely manner, you some adding these words very critically.
And we
immunizing
want to
in a
pay attention
timely
to
manner.
these words.
Yes, time. Because don't say immunized, but when time passed. So yes, you have particular times that we are going to discuss.
So is that okay? We shall talk about that.
Yes. So if you immunize in a timely manner, then you prevent your child from having delayed milestones. At HealthPort, we discussed about milestones.
Yes.
We request our viewers, they can go and view those, whatever. So now, we are going to discuss, when do I immunize my child?
Shortly, as we come back from the commercial break. Immunization is very safe if you do it in a timely way. That is what Dr. Hanifa has told us. And we are delighted that your eyes are still on Church of Uganda Family TV. This is HealthPort. Remember, HealthPort is brought to you by Makerere Universal School of Public Health. And we are basically looking at early childhood development and maternal health. Immunization is part of these themes. That is why we have Dr. Hanifa Namala Sengendo taking us through immunization today. Doctor.
Yes, please.
We want now to dive into the various immunization processes that because you've told us about the importances and the benefits why a parent should really take their child for immunization.
Exactly. So now, when do you immunize your child?
Yes.
So, your child, first of all, I should say that your child should be immunized. That one has no debate. Talking as a mother, talking as a pediatrician.
It is mandatory.
It is mandatory. When your child is just born at birth, John, when you become a father on day 0 or day 1, your child is immunized against polio and tuberculosis. Tuberculosis, kekafuba. So, when your child is just immunized, they put 2 drops in the mouth. It should be under the tongue, and then they give that child an injection on the upper arm. So, those 2, that is immunization against polio and tuberculosis. So, tuberculosis is the other immunizable disease. So, if you don't immunize, your child will get severe tuberculosis. So, dear parents, I hear some people saying, my baby, it is still a very small child. Yes.
It will cry.
It will cry, yes. Science has had it at birth, my dear fellow mothers. As a mother, at birth, your child must be immunized against polio that causes lameness and against TB, akafuba. When your child gets at 6 weeks, 6 weeks is 1.5 months.
Yeah.
So we tell you that when your child is 1.5 months, you remember when I talked about timely immunization.
Yes.
So your child is supposed to be immunized at birth. Don't wait for another week and say, for me, I will wait at a week. No, we are saying at birth, omwana muwere yakazalibwa. Okay? So when your child gets 6 weeks, there is another type of immunization we give. The other one, we call it polio 0. That is 0 day. Yes, polio 0 BCG. Now at 6 weeks, we give polio 1. It is another type we give against polio.
Is it also oral?
It's also oral. So you give at 6 weeks, and we also give another vaccine that prevents against whooping cough. You may not know even whooping cough.
I studied about it.
Cough where the child coughs and cannot almost finish. And the child continues what? Coughing. So you immunize against polio and whooping cough and pneumonia. And the types of pneumonia are actually very many. But also at that time, we immunize against tetanus. Tetanus is also a type of immunizable disease that makes the baby fit, especially because that has gone, especially when you deliver from a dirty place or whatever. But tetanus is also another immunizable killer disease. All these immunizable killer diseases can be transmitted from one person to another. So immunization is for everybody. If you don't immunize your child, you can make my child sick because you have not immunized yours. That's why from a public health perspective, everyone should immunize their child. We also immunize against influenza. There is a bad flu. Senyiga omubi ennyo eyandibadde akwata omwana omuwere. So when you immunize your child at 6 weeks, which is 1.5 months, mwezi gumu kitundu, you are immunizing against polio, whooping cough, tetanus, influenza, waliwo oyo senyiga omubi ennyo ne rotavirus. Rotavirus that causes what? Diarrhea.
I'm in class.
I can see you are in class.
Yes.
Also at that time, the vaccine we give prevents hepatitis, which is the liver what?
The liver disease.
Which is the liver disease. So at 6 weeks, what happens? There is an injection this time. Again.
All these others have been at 6 weeks. There's another.
Polio was oral in the mouth,
yes.
And we gave the BCG for TB. Now this time we give on the right and left thigh. So the baby at 6 weeks, By the way, when you take your child for immunization, they don't even just give the injections and you go. They weigh the child and you get to know the weight. So that's also another benefit. Yes.
Yeah.
So at 6 weeks, we immunize against all those ones. They get injection on the left thigh and right thigh. Yes, like when you take Panadol, it may not be sweet. Even when they give the injection, it is painful. The child will cry, the leg will pain, the child will get a fever. But that fever is because the body has realized that I have to develop ready tops. Who are these? LDUs, UPDF, SFC. All those are defense mechanisms. So when the baby gets fever, don't be worried. So we tell the mothers, when the child gets that fever, just use a small sponge or cloth, you wipe, but the issue is you must immunize. We shall discuss some of the side effects later.
Yes.
So that is at 6 weeks when the child is 1.5 months. So when the child gets to 2.5 months, we give polio 2. Remember, we started polio 0, polio 1, now polio 2.
At 10 weeks.
No, yes, now we have entered 10 weeks,
10 weeks.
which is 2.5 months. And we also give the repeat of the whooping cough, the influenza that causes the flu, the hepatitis, that is the liver, the pneumonia, and also the rotavirus that causes diarrhea. So it's like a repeat, but being given at different times. So we immunized at 0 day,
Yes.
1.5 months, which is 6 weeks, 10 weeks, which is 2.5 months. I have said, even if the child gets problems of fever and whatever, don't you worry. As a mother, I went through this. My children are now grown up, okay? Then, after that, we got 14 weeks, which is actually 3.5 months. We do the repeat. Now we give polio 3 and all the others. You see? So, at that time of 14 weeks, the child is 3.5 months.
Why is it that polio keeps on coming back?
Because the world wanted to eradicate, to get rid of polio in the world. Polio to never appear. That is why I said we countries have been talking about eradication of polio, and I'm sure I'm a Rotarian. We have the eradication polio, drives that we keep doing. Polio never to come back. So polio continues. So at 3.5 months, we give those vaccines again. Then when your child is at 6 months, we give the measles vaccine. That one we actually, it depends. Sometimes we give at 6 months, we give the vitamin A. Now vitamin A is a small, is a small drop we give in the mouth, and that helps in preventing blindness. It's a vitamin. A vitamin helps to build the strength, immunity, but particularly the vitamin A helps in preventing blindness. So at 6 months...
That could have come as a result of measles.
That could have come even just as a result of many other ailments. So at 6 months, you take your child and the child gets vitamin A. Depending, sometimes we give measles at 6 months and 1 year, but let us stick to 6 months. Our child gets vitamin A, which is a vitamin which prevents ailments of blindness and generally building the immunity. So at 9 months, we give the measles vaccine, which is actually the mulangira and other health talks. At that level, why am I putting in health talks? The parent should know that when you take your child for immunization, it's not just the immunization, but we still weigh your child, we still look at the nutrition of your child, and we advise you. Also, those who believe in family planning, this is a time when we also talk about family planning.
So doctor, as we move on, what happens if a child suffers from measles before the 9 months of immunization?
Okay, when the child develops measles before 9 months, we still immunize at 9 months. Yes, because they may have developed their natural immunity because they have suffered the measles, but you are still not sure because they may be exposed. You have had recently measles outbreaks in northern Uganda because of issues from South Sudan and whatever. So I think my major appeal is that your child, before your child is 1 year, they should have 5 immunizations. Like we've gone through them.
Yes.
Soon after birth, 1.5 months, 2.5 months, 3 months. Remember also at 6 months we are giving vitamin A, then at 9 months we are giving the measles. So, my dear parents, as a pediatrician, that is a specialist of children, as a public health specialist, but also as a mother, I am appealing to you to take your children for immunization. Leave these things, we shall discuss the episode of myths. Muve moyo wolokosonze abaana kugema, because you've talked about immunization and vaccination of COVID. Leave those things alone. A mother who wants to be a mother like me as Dr. Hanifa, please tune in to Health Pot so that you understand about vaccination of our children. We shall have other episodes for adolescents and also discuss what people talk about issues of immunization. Like any other thing, there may be side effects. That will be in our next episode. But today we have said, my dear mother, my young girls, my young mothers, the mentors, the stepping stone parents, let's have our children immunized. Start talking about immunization early. That's why we are lucky to have Health Pot, Makerere University School of Public Health, Church of Uganda Family TV. I thank you so much for bringing us to the community. This is the community. So, my dear parents, let's embrace immunization. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Doctor. Wow. I didn't want you to end this particular session, but the joy I have, exactly, that is the joy I have, that we are still with you and we shall continue with you. So what you need to do is to keep your eyes on Church of Uganda Family TV. Every Friday at exactly 7, we are here with Health Pot. Edwin Austin Mukalazi is my name. It has been a pleasure to be with you, to move with you from where we started from up to this point. I've worked with Jonah Jal, the producer, and in transmission there is Bantam. You can check out for all the other older episodes on YouTube. Just type in COU Family TV and you'll have a display. If you want to check in the playlist, go to the playlist of Health Pot. You'll find all the older episodes of Health Pot in that folder. God bless you. We meet again next time.